Maury, we got 7 a.m. So first ever corner table breakfast. Is this your normal routine?
Well, this is when I get up and I can't work without something to eat. And I love diners, and we're on the Upper West Side, and EJ's is one of my favorites. So I
rise and shine. Because today at our corner table, talk show host Maury Povich takes us to his favorite place to eat. It's EJ's Luncheonette in New York City, where Maury will show us how he likes to start his day.
There are no cholesterol restrictions, no calorie restrictions. Breakfast is a free meal.
And he'll show us how to cook it.
See, no, you don't understand. This is short order stuff.
All right, short.
This isn't she brie crap.
He'll also tell us how he courted his wife, Connie Chong.
That's the way you get to Connie Chong. First she pities you, then she can love you.
And how these days, Maury and family are enjoying life in the wild, wild West.
It's not a ranch, it's a home. I'm no Ted Turner, I'm not a Brokaw. I don't do these things, this is a home. But 7 a.m., I don't know about you, Bill, but I think much better early in the morning these days.
I'm ready to eat, let's go.
Our corner table talk show host Maury Povich, who rose to fame as the pioneer of tabloid TV on A Current Affair. Today, he's in his 9th successful year as a daytime talk show host. And over breakfast, Maury told us why diners are dear to his heart.
Maury Povich, I like this place.
This is great, isn't it?
It's a retro diner.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's, I grew up in places like this, and I was, when I was about 14, 15 years old, I became a soda jerk in kind of a fountains atmosphere here, and we had a small grill, and I used to be a pretty good short order cook, and it started in my, I think it all starts with your family. We had great breakfasts.
You're a breakfast guy.
I was a breakfast guy. My father died last year at the age of 92. He made breakfast for himself to the day he died.
God
it was
bless
one of those things.
92.
Yeah.
Wow. And your father, we'll talk about him later, a legendary figure in Washington. Do you make breakfast at home now? You kind of following your father's tradition?
Weekends, I do it. I make breakfast for my son, my 4-year-old son. I mean, he's into... I believe that all cholesterol is suspended at breakfast. And that we had the greatest breakfast in the world. I say there are no cholesterol restrictions, no calorie restrictions. Breakfast is a free meal.
What do you make? What do you make for your son? Like a nice cheese omelet? I used to make them for my dad.
Cheese omelets, yeah, that's big time for me when you do omelets. But I make all kinds of eggs, scrambled and fried and sunny and over and sometimes, if I feel a little shishi, I'll make a couple of poached eggs. But for the most part, it's eggs and bacon, toast, a lot of butter, all kinds of stuff. And then we start watching ourselves from lunch and dinner.
What does Connie like? Your wife, Connie?
Connie loves anything that anybody cooks for her. She doesn't make breakfasts too well. So in fact, when we were first married, before we had Matthew, I used to make breakfast for her all the time.
Well, when I saw you at the Friars Roast the other night, you said, I make a great breakfast. And I said, well, you know, let's have a corner table. And you said, there's no reason at this point for us to order off the menu when we've got a professional short order cook sitting here.
Let's see how I do. I don't know how I do it on a big grill, but back home I'm okay, but we'll see.
It gets bigger on a big grill.
It all depends on what the fire is like. That's the whole key to breakfast, how big or small your fire is.
Well, we did turn it on a little while ago.
Okay.
We got some heat for you. Let's go.
All right.
Basic eggs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Does this feel like old times?
Yeah, this is good. But this is, you know, this is excellent. I mean, I don't have this kind of industrial stove here.
At home?
Oh, no. No. You always have to have this. This is great.
Protects the hand.
Spent 10 years burning myself.
Well,
you know, what happens is, Bill, I don't know about you, but you know, in between marriages, those long, lonely...
Well, I'm a bachelor now, so I can identify with those
lonely years and things like that. That's when this really comes in handy. If you're a good short order cook and you're older and divorced, this is big stuff.
Well, where'd you learn to do this? Did they just hire you as a teenager, or did somebody train you?
This was the corner drugstore, you know, and in my family, I was a Me Too Povich. I had an older brother, and I had to do everything he did. And he started as a soda jerk at this store, at this drugstore. So I did the same thing.
So what's your objective here? Sunny side up, over easy?
We'll do a sunny side up, but the key is on sunny side up eggs, because people don't get this. The key in sunny side up eggs, let me just see this or something. Okay, this will work out.
All right.
The key on sunny side up eggs is, you know, you're down here, you're making the eggs, and that's fine. but everybody has to get the gook out of the eggs, you know, because you don't want runny, sunny side up eggs.
Right.
So as they heat up, come on, baby. As they heat up, what you do is you just pop the white.
You pop the whites, huh?
Every so often, and then you got yourself something. I mean, I don't know what it's about you, but it was mandatory. We had to have summer jobs. We had to have jobs over Christmas vacation. I mean, in my house, you had to contribute because my parents didn't have a lot of money, and you had to have jobs all the time. So we just hustled any job we could, and this soda jerk job was the first one. Another good job I had when I was an elevator operator in the House Office building in Washington, D.C. That was the best job in the world because in Washington, if you could work for the government, it was the highest pay you could get. I mean, if the minimum wage was 50 cents, you could get like $2 an hour.
And you could have stayed there for the rest of your life operating that elevator,
I want to tell you something. All the jobs I lost in my life, I could have made a lot more money if I would have remained a house.
So what's the next step here with the eggs?
Well, the next step is, first of all, we had too much oil. But this isn't bad.
You can drain it off on the grill if you want, just to get rid of it.
All right, let me get rid of this
Just
stuff.
for expedience sake.
See, I never cook with oil. I cook with what everybody cooks with.
Butter. Right.
I don't mess around with this stuff. All right, let me get that. Oh, that's okay. All right,
Maybe convert them to the grill, maybe.
Okay, good idea.
See what happens.
This
you got
is
to
always.
There you go.
This is always the key.
You're a grill man at heart, and you know it.
There you go. There you go. All right, that's not bad. Now
Here,
you see, it's okay.
I'll take this.
Because all the runoff is done. The whites are firmed up. Where's the plate? Let's eat.
All right. What kind of plate you want? The blue plate, the big plate? There you go.
Yeah, here we go.
Are you going to give me anything else with this?
You
got the mushrooms here. You got one little cheese.
See, no, you don't understand. This is short order stuff.
All right, short.
This isn't she brie crap. I mean, this is stuff.
Little French toast?
Well, on my house, French toast, that was always Saturday morning. You made the French toast with challah. The challah bread was the key on the French toast. And boy, I like the way that thing comes off.
They came up pretty nice.
See, that's good. See, now I like that. You see, you got a little burn around the sides. Everything is firm up in here, and the yolks are intact.
You did it, man. Let's go back and eat. Okay. The question is, what do you get?
Oh. I'll work that.
Welcome back to our Sunrise Corner Table with Maury Povich at EJ's Luncheonette in New York City. EJ's is a 1950 throwback diner loaded with memorabilia of days gone by. Ice cream, sodas, and coffee cake are served counterside, where patrons can sit in original vinyl booths and enjoy breakfast favorites all day long. Lunch and dinner options include Cobb salad and the Heshy, a New York classic. And for breakfast, Maury enjoyed his eggs sunny side up with bacon and potatoes.
With the eggs alone, I wouldn't know how to have the ketchup. But now that you guys have messed around with
ketchup because it wasn't on the table.
For the potatoes, you got to have this. Then a lot of people like, I like it too sometimes, Tabasco on there. But you can't have. I don't have eggs without pepper. I got to have pepper. I'll get this in a second.
Here, this is what I use. A knife. Here, let me help you.
Oh, Bill, come on. That's just too sanitary.
Were you going to stick your finger in there? That's one thing I horrify people. I like ketchup on eggs. It started young, and it's
that's okay.
Yeah.
See, anything
and pepper.
goes.
You need some pepper.
I've never eaten an egg in my life without pepper. Right. See, I've never in my life. See, anything goes with eggs. Everything is allowed. It doesn't matter.
Well, Maury, I want to talk to you a little bit about, as we have breakfast here, but bon appetit, good health. Thank you very much for everything.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
We've never had a guest who cooked before.
No?
This is going to start a whole new trend.
You mean you have all these people who can do
Ivana.
Ivana, what did she cook?
She sort of made a pizza. That's right. She kind of made a pizza.
Oh, I thought
she put a couple things on, but she didn't eat it. I eat the whole thing. Let's talk a little.
See, those people on the east side, they never eat. They just order and then look at it.
That's why you moved to the west side. Let's talk a little bit about the way up. How did you actually get started in the business? What's the Maury Povich legacy?
Well,
newsman, anchor?
Yeah, no, it started as a kind of a news guy. You mentioned my father before, and he was a sports writer for 75 years at the Post.
Shirley Povich. You had a dad named Shirley.
Yeah.
Did you ever get punched in the nose?
Well, you got teased a lot. I mean, when I was real young, they used to run around. He says, your father's name is Shirley, your mother's name is George. I mean, it used to be all that kind of stuff. And my mother's name is Ethel, and she's the most lovely person in the world.
God,
so anyway,
Ethel.
Yeah. So I hung around my father a lot. I used to go to games all the time with him. I was a bat boy for the old-time Washington Senators. So I was in that area as television came into being.
Yeah.
Maury worked around the country in local news and talk television, and then found fame.
I think that obviously the big break for you in terms of the national exposure was A Current Affair, which was television's very first tabloid news show. What do you think the legacy of A Current Affair is?
Well, I think the legacy is you have 11 hours of ABC, NBC, CBS, primetime news magazine programming, like my wife, who works on 2020, and you have those network newscasts, and they're all a current affair. They don't admit it.
But that's what they're doing. They're
chasing the same stories we do. That's how we kind of changed the map in television news, because we were taking stories no one else was doing, putting them on the air, and getting this huge audience.
But one of the things I loved that you did on that show, Maury, was the way you would deliver what I call the questioning glance. You would deliver the story, they'd come back from the story, and you would just give a look, give us that look.
I would go. And if something was real, I have to almost work up, and I said, okay, we sent an entire crew and spent all this money going to northern Michigan looking for Elvis Presley. And I would go, we did what?
Well, Maury, you've been at it a long time. If you count the Panorama, if you count the other Maury show for 7, 8 years.
Yeah, how about the meandering through the country for 7 years, working in 5 different places? That was a beauty.
What's the worst job you ever got fired from?
Oh, you never get fired from bad jobs. You get fired from good jobs.
What's the best job you ever got fired from?
Let's see. Well, the most embarrassing job I got fired was when I moved to Los Angeles to work with the then big star in California named Connie Chung, who I had known in Washington because she had worked in my station in Washington, and she was the big star. And it was kind of reversed, because in Washington, our hometown, I was the star. She was just out of college as a copy girl and things like that. Now she ends up the big star. I go to California to anchor with her, and in 6 months, they fire me.
How come?
And Maury was afraid to break the news to his formidable father.
Now, at the age of 38, I go to California. I get fired and divorced all at the same time. Now, you
don't want to tell your father.
I don't want to tell my father either thing.
No, right.
I mean, they're equal. They're equal in humiliation and embarrassment when it comes to my father. So I didn't know what to do, and I knew because I was fired, it's going to be in the papers. You know, the divorce you can handle because it's very private, and you work things out, and you go your separate ways, and then you call your father. But no, I had to call my father. So I called my father. I said, Dad, I have to tell you something. And I am halting, and it's very difficult for me to say this, and I just can't. And I paused, and I said, Dad, I have to tell you 2 things, and both of them are bad. A, Phyllis and I are getting divorced, and B, I just got fired. And there was this long pause, and I went, slinking in my chair.
You're feeling it right here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And he says to me, he says, son, I want you to do 2 things. I want you to come home and see us. And get all the sharp instruments out of the house. So I mean, in his way, he was telling me he could accept that. I mean, he was disappointed in me and all that, but he can accept it, and please come home. So that's the way. In the Povich household, if you handle bad things, it has to be with a sense of humor.
Well, that's wonderful. Now, back to Connie. So you're now divorced and unemployed. How did you first start dating Connie?
Because she pitied me. Because she was the only person I knew in California, and so I basically rested my head on her shoulder. I mean, she was my support system. I didn't really know any. I'd only been there 6 months. And that's the way you get to Connie Chung. First she pities you, then she can love you. She was basically supporting me, I mean, for many years. First of all,
a lot of men couldn't live with that. A lot of guys could not.
When we got married, I was making probably 1/10 the money she was. I was Mr. Chung. Nobody knew me in New York. I was still living in Washington. We were commuting. I would come up on weekends. I'd even go to our apartment in New York on the West Side, and the doorman would say, "Who are you here to see?" And I said, "I'm here to see Connie Chung." "And who are you, sir?" I said, I'm her husband, and he would call up and said, Miss Chung, Mr. Chung is downstairs. So that's...
Obviously, you're so madly in love after 15 years of your life. How do you like to treat Connie? What's a special occasion that are there restaurants you like to take her to? Things you like to do with her?
We have such simple tastes. A special occasion for my wife is to let her sleep till noon like she used to do. That's a special occasion. That I'll get up and I'll take Matthew out, she can keep her door closed and sleep till noon. Because she used to love to sleep. And that was her big thing. And that's also a reason why over these years, the last few years, they keep asking her to do Good Morning America. She won't do it. Because she can't stand to get up.
Welcome back to our corner table with Maury Povich at EJ's Luncheonette on Manhattan's Upper West Side.
Take me to your ranch in Montana. I did not know you had a ranch.
Well, it's a home. It's not a...
But you know what? Do you wrestle steers out there?
No.
Broncos.
No,
you got bears in the
No,
backyard. I hear it's a 2.5-mile drive from the road up to the house. It's like a 4-star hotel.
Well,
this is good. This is major.
And it just happened. I mean, it happened last year. I think you get to an age where you'd say, my gosh, I mean, the years are flying by. I better do something that I haven't done. And I'd never been to Montana. I'd never been a fisherman. I'd never done any of that. And so we rented a home, and Connie, my father and Connie used to be, my father used to say, Maury never played at a golf club he didn't want to join. And my wife says, you've never stayed in a house you didn't want to buy.
Yeah, right.
So we rented this home, I loved it so much, and we bought it. And so it's interesting, we bought it, Connie and I bought it, but we told the owner to leave everything there because we didn't want any more decorating problems and Connie to spend all that.
As is.
As is. Everything there was by the previous owner. And so what happens is all my family, my friends, some of my staff, and people I've known, they all go stay there. They love it. And I get more of a kick out of them staying there. And I also get a kick, and this is even the best part, Bill. The best thing about it is being there. The next best thing is to think about being there.
So you love it.
When I'm not there, I think about it, and when I think about it, it's a good feeling. So
what are the meal times like at the ranch in Montana?
It's not a ranch, it's a home. I'm not Ted Turner, I'm not a Brokaw. I don't do these things. It's a home. First of all, by Montana standards, I mean, it's like 70 acres. It's nothing. It's
dropping
Montana.
70 acres.
70 acres.
Smaller than Central Park.
I'll tell you something.
Excuse me for asking about it.
There are trailer parks in Montana bigger than 70 acres, I'm telling you.
What are the meal times like? What's the kitchen like?
Kitchen's in the middle of the room.
What are the food activities?
It's a Frank Lloyd Wright kind of house by a protege of Frank Lloyd Wright from Wisconsin. And he put the kitchen right in the middle of this grand room. The room is everything. It's the library, it's the living room, it's the playroom, it's the kitchen, it's the dining room. It's one big room, and right in the middle of it is the kitchen. It's great.
You have to tell me about your passion for golf. I have never acquired that passion, but those who know you well say it's the main thing in your life.
Doesn't matter whether there was some kind of release for you. Yeah. And I didn't golf up till I was 30. And the moment I started driving down a little lane to the golf course, all of a sudden, all the pressures of the business, everything that I was worried about, kind of like, I mean, it was just like a moment in time when everything just lifted. And I got into the purity of golf, the fact that it is a game of honor, the fact is that it's you and God and the game and a standard called par, and I can play alone. Yeah. Which I love to do, even though I love company as well.
Give us all one really interesting twosome or foursome you've played with in your life.
The two most memorable matches have been with Tiger Woods. I played with him after he had won the U.S. Amateur out in Shinnecock here when he was next door to Shinnecock at National about 5 years ago. And then I played with him at the AT&T in a practice round with Kevin Costner. So the three of us played a practice round. And that was enjoyable because I got to know Tiger, and so we're somewhat acquaintances over.
He's going to be around a long time.
Yes, he is, long after us.
Now, if we can come back, God willing, right here to EJ's, right on Amsterdam in New York, in 10 years, the 10 years of our lives have gone by, and somehow I'm still doing this show. What do you want to be able to say about the 10 years of your life that's passed?
I think I would like to be able to say that I'm the husband I was 10 years ago, and that I'm the father I would like to be.
Well, Maury, we like to close all of our shows with a toast from our guests directly to the Food Network viewers. You're on.
Okay. May your breakfasts be as good as the ones I imagine.